want you to hit me as hard as you can.
We'll tear your soul apart.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Now the dream is over. It's acted away.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Talking Movies. My name is Josh.
I'm Clay.
I'm Chris.
And today we are talking about James Cameron's The Abyss.
1989.
89. I forgot to look up the date again.
You have to look with better eyes than that.
All right, this was Chris's pick, and I believe a first-time watch. So
Yes. Never seen it before. Just bought the new 4K, so figured it'd be a good time to check it out. I'm not a huge James Cameron fan. I mean, of course, I love some of his movies, but I mean, they would all agree Avatar kind of sucks. I mean, he's lost his luster over the last, however many years. But I mean, The Abyss was something I always wanted to check out because I mean, I kind of like the deep sea thing, and I mean, and obviously knew it was some kind of little alien invasion thing kind of going on in the background. So just never got around to checking it out. So it was time.
yeah, it's definitely one of the lesser talked of James Cameron movies. Kind of under the radar. Like it just got an HD transfer. It was on like an old DVD for a very, very long time. So it seemed like it was kind of forgotten. But it had been a long time since I had seen it. I don't know, I probably watched it like 10, 15 years ago, and I was like, oh, I really like that movie. But
yeah, I assume I was probably the only one that hasn't seen it.
I think so. Has everyone else seen the movie before?
Yeah, I had it on DVD.
Okay.
I think I saw it in the movies when it came out, I want to say.
Oh, damn.
Dang, I was not born yet.
Yeah, what year was it? 88?
89.
Yeah.
89. No, I didn't. I was too young for that. I mean, I don't think that I would have had like an issue with like, parental issues with it, but it just wasn't something I was going to watch at that age. My mom would have been like, no. Ninja Turtles it is. Batman, whatever the fuck was out there.
Well, yeah, you're like what, like 8?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not reaching for The Abyss.
No, I like to watch, like I was always watching movies that were above my age range, but not stuff that was like above my age range as in like science-y intelligent stuff. It was more like action movies and maybe some like accidental nudity where my parents are like, oh shit, didn't know that was coming. Cover his eyes up.
Yeah.
Shout out Double Impact.
Yeah, which would have happened in this. I was kind of surprised for a James Cameron movie.
Bro, I watched
quick little bit.
I watched both versions of this movie.
Did
Dang.
you really?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
No, I jumped in late. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's so Where are we in the conversation? Did it
We
just
really
start?
Yeah, we really just
intro.
Yeah, really just started. I was gonna ask what like version everybody watched.
So
What's the Hulu version?
So I
theatrical.
began watching the special edition because I was like, I don't think I've seen this one. And I watched it for about 45 minutes, and then I looked and it was 3 hours. And I was like,
Yep.
And I was like, wait, there's some scenes in here that feel like they don't need to be here. And so I switched to the other version, and I like tried to skim through to see where I was in the movie, and I was like 45 or 50 minutes in the special edition, and I was like 30 minutes in the regular edition.
There's 28 extra minutes, I think, is what it said on the back of the box.
It's quite a bit longer, yeah.
Well, so I don't want to just like poo-poo on anything, dude. Like I watched the first version, like most of it by myself, right? like almost the whole movie, and then I something happened. I don't remember what it was, but I ended up not catching like the last like 10 minutes. When I say I watched it twice, it was like sans like the last 10 minutes on the first watch, and I wasn't quite sure how far I'd gotten in it.
Okay.
So I rewatched it the other night because I had some time and I was up with Parker. He wasn't sleeping very well, and I was cleaning those records that I got. So I was like, all right, well, I can do two things at once and watch this. Well, I was really distracted by the movie because I was cleaning records, and I kept like trying to like pay attention to like dialogue and stuff. But I like Ed Harris a lot, so every time he came on the screen, I was like, oh, Ed Harris, and I'm like watching it, right? Like, but man, I used to really like this movie, dude. Like, I don't anymore. I don't dislike it, but I was like. It was like a deflated watch. Like I was like, I really thought that was going to be what I remembered it being, which is awesome, and it kind of wasn't. And I don't really know.
What wasn't awesome about it? You don't know.
I didn't like the Ed Harris angle. I didn't like the fact that girl. Well, I don't know what's all missing out of the other one. Honestly, I can't really tell you what was missing out of it. So like,
there is a bit more from what I read a little because I watched the whole special edition.
Okay.
I mean, from what it sounds like, there is a good bit of like not necessarily backstory, but just a little bit more interaction and scenes between them. So I think you get a little bit better idea of their relationship. And I don't know what's exactly in the regular edition, but I mean,
it should have been rated R, and it should have had like more dynamic stuff happening in it, like a little bit more like. Okay, and I say rated R not so that it can have like nudity or like blood in it. But so that it could have had a more mature theme in parts of it, and things could have been a little darker tonally, because that's what was missing for me. And maybe that's because I watched too many just straight horror movies. That's likely the cause, right? But it was like so corny, dude. Like there were so many things where I was like, I forgot that this was how it goes. Oh yeah, this. And then I didn't like the design of the alien, but I don't think I ever really cared for that much. Yeah. But I said Harris, but I'll watch it again just because I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like dislike it. I'm like lukewarm on it, which is honestly kind of worse.
I mean, and it's long, and I was thinking it was more like a little over 2 hours, 2 hours 15, something like that. So, I mean, I definitely was a little hesitant on bringing like a long movie to the podcast. You usually don't go over that well, especially if like it's not liked. I mean, shit. 3-hour movie that sucks is torture.
It didn't suck. Like I don't want it to be like that's what I think about, because I don't. I just was I remembered really liking it. Like when you brought it up, I was excited to watch it.
Yeah. Me and you have talked about it before. Right?
Yeah.
Both been like, oh yeah, that movie's dope. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, man. And who knows? It could have been time and place. I don't know.
So was there not nudity in the regular edition?
There is nudity. When they pull her shirt open to shock her back to life.
Oh yeah,
there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if that whole scene of her, like brought back to life and all that stuff. I
mean, that's sort of like dead girl stuff at the time. You're not really like, ooh, that's so attractive. Look at that.
Right.
I mean, she's dying on the deck.
It's not exactly
right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it could probably still get a PG-13 rating. That maybe not back then.
I
love this movie. I just got to say, counterpoint.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I watched the full special edition and absolutely loved it.
Okay, awesome. I will say I was a little bit on the fence at times.
I was too.
Especially when I was watching the special edition. Actually, like there's this scene where they start singing for like a couple of minutes, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is horrible!"
I have not seen that scene.
That was in the special edition.
That might actually be my favorite part of the whole movie because it's so bad.
It is so.
What are they singing? Like "Row, row your boat" or something? Like what would be
some country song, bro?
It's a country song, and you hear it for a couple.
Yeah.
You hear it for a second in the regular edition. You like hear it in her pod or whatever while she's swimming around. But then she breaks out into song, and then everyone in the cabin starts singing along with her.
Wow!
And it was
I thought that like the edited version.
That is the best part.
So I think that it sort of adds to her character, right? And thank God they edited the full song out. But in the theatrical cut, it's just that one little slice of time where she's just cruising around singing her little song that's it, you know.
Mhm,
So you're like, oh, she's a country girl, you know, these are country people.
right. It's very James
Country
Cameron.
person.
James
Yeah.
Cameron is a little corny. Like he builds like archetype characters. Like this is the tough girl. This is the
Yeah.
the blue collar tough
This
guy.
is the smart one. This is
Yeah.
the bitchy one.
It's
This is
pretty
the-
much rinse and repeat in like every movie he makes.
Well,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I like that about this movie because it's early and you didn't have all the James Cameron, afterwards, right? So you guys know James Cameron, like Transformers and all this garbage. Didn't he do Transformers?
No, that's Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, wrong James Cameron. But so now you have like a whole litany of James Cameron movies that all look the same. But when this first came out, you were like, "Dang, this is cool!" Like it really seemed very new, and the characters were simple. So
Yeah, I felt the characters were a lot more tolerable in this than like so many of them seem like they're like just kind of caricatures of characters that even in Aliens, which I love, it's a great movie, but the thing that really kind of holds me back on like loving aliens over Alien is the characters. I find just the characters annoying. You know, they're all just kind of dumb and goofy and corny and silly, and it kind of holds me back off of Aliens a little bit. And I just find them a little bit more tolerable here.
The thing that Alien doesn't have is Bill Paxton.
Which I don't like his character. And
oh my god, game over, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's got
awesome.
That's a pretty funny line, and I like Bill Paxton, but
I love him in that movie.
All the characters in that movie are just so, and the Space Marine shit and the military shit. It's all like he got it in every single movie, and
yeah,
I mean.
You can see, like, when you look at that and you look at the Abyss, you're like, oh, I see these are the two building blocks that make Avatar,
Yeah.
For
that's
real.
What I like. But Avatar has like a preachy message to me that's very in your face. And that's what I like about Abyss is it doesn't really have that. It's kind of like, well, why are we attacking this strange, unknown entity? Yes. But it's not like, we have to do it because this is cowboys and Indians and this is their land and that to me is excessive. Like I
do like about the movie, and look, just because I was lukewarm on it, there was points in the movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. The gripes I had were just like kind of overwhelming to where it was like good point, bad point, good. So it was just kind of like getting smacked in the face with things I didn't like. So the stuff I remember most vividly is that stuff. But as we're talking, like, I really enjoyed the fact that it wasn't preachy, but I liked the fact that they were like, yo, why are we messing with this thing at all? Like it felt like a more responsible, outlook. Yeah. But then there was stuff like when the water thing's got like the face on it and she like puts her finger on it and like licks it. I'm like, ain't no way that somebody would put their mouth on that.
I ain't touching that.
Like it was that kind of stuff that bothered me a little bit, But what was the?
I think that was just them kind of showing off. They're like, oh, we can bring in this brand new effect, and they're like, and we're gonna actually touch it, and it's gonna look real. At the time, that was probably
respond to the
because you're like, you're not actually like touch,
because I'm viewing it through a 2024 lens, which it is what it is though.
Yeah,
like
no, totally.
But I didn't think about it like that. It makes a lot of sense that would have been pretty groundbreaking back then.
Cameron put that in there just to be like, we're gonna do this shit.
Look what I can do.
Crazy. Yeah.
What was her that commanding officer that was just a righteous prick? What was his beef, dude? Like, what was his deal? I couldn't figure him out.
Oh, Michael Biehn?
Like, what was his deal? Like,
he got like the depth sickness or whatever.
Yeah. They talk about that at the very beginning, and then he was like,
and his hand was shaking a little bit.
Yeah,
that's the guy that was being a prick, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes like excessively worse.
Okay. I knew I was missing some key thing. It's I caught it but didn't grasp onto it. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense now. I was like, what's this guy's problem? Like, I was like all of a sudden like I wasn't quite sure. I just kind of missed that's what happened to him. Even though I knew that when you said it, I was like, oh yeah, this handshaking thing.
Is it called the Bends or something like that? I think they kind of
Something like that.
Yeah.
That guy was driving me nuts, dude. I was like, oh my god, just shoot him and get it over with, bro. Like, you got bigger, worse things to worry about right now. I promise.
He's a Cameron staple too. Like he's in Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator, and then Aliens, and
I recognize him, but I couldn't have told you his name.
I think
I've known a lot of like divers over the years. Divers that go and spend like weeks at a time. They got to decompress to go spend a month or so underwater.
Oh, because we work on
compress
offshore
and decompress to come back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really talk about it a lot, but a lot of the like underwater stuff is like a really big part of my job. So like, we use ROVs and stuff to like install pipelines and all kinds of stuff like at the bottom. So a lot of this stuff like is really kind of cool, extra cool to me.
Well, that would make a lot of sense why you enjoyed it.
Just because of that. I mean, I think all the stuff he kind of made up for the movie. Obviously, it's a little bit more, futuristic sci-fi kind of than it is in
the water you can breathe.
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude. It looks so ridiculous.
Y'all know that is a real thing.
Really?
What?
That's a real thing. Yeah.
Of course it is. The one thing that I thought was absolutely
now
fake.
it is. At the
No. It was a thing. I watched the whole behind the scenes.
Oh, really?
Thing. Yes.
Okay.
It's some sort of.
That's awesome. Josh is like, no, motherfuckers. I watched all of that shit.
He like heard about this and he put it in the movie because of it. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. Like he's always been into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's a very sciencey guy.
Yes.
Did they talk about how sciencey his divorce was and how he put
Dude, what, bro?
Oh yeah, so he was in the middle of a divorce when he made this movie, so that's why the whole movie is about divorce. Yeah.
Oh man,
to Catherine Bigelow, actually, they were married.
Okay, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Dude.
So yeah, it was cool to me to see a lot of the stuff like that because the going crazy when you're spending that amount of time underwater. I mean, that's a real thing. And
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean they were just talking about the pressure and the imploding ROV a little bit later in the movie.
Dude, that's dope.
Yes. So a lot of that stuff like I would kind of like I wonder if they're gonna like. At the very end of the movie, they brought up like them coming up out of the water. I was like, do that? Like you would, you got to decompress before you do that. You're gonna kind of threw in a little line in there. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, what? Yeah. It's like a throwaway line just so they can end the movie. Why didn't we all die?
Yeah, that was all I needed. I just needed them to address it.
No, that actually matters though. When you get like even one line of dialogue that explains something that you know to be necessary, you're like, oh man, I can live with this now because at least there's that, and you can go, no. They mentioned it, like they were aware of it. That's all I want to know is that they knew that they weren't. Like I'd rather them. I just want to know that they knew that it actually needs to be this way.
It's magic, but we did dot our T's.
Right. Like. And maybe I messed up by watching the long version the second time, and that's kind of what's on my mind right now. Because the reason I watched the long version actually was just kind of when I went and turned the TV back on to sit with Parker, it was on the home screen, and it was like watch the theatrical version or watch the extended version. And I'd already seen the theatrical, so the extended was lit up, and I wouldn't have even thought of it had it not been lit up because I don't usually go for extended versions. And I was like, meh. Play, and I probably shouldn't have done that because, dude, how long did he spend beating the shit out of that girl before she came back alive? Like I don't know, 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
Like
it's a while. Yeah,
I laughed at that part pretty good this time. When I watched it this time, I was like, "Damn, he slapped her on both sides of her face as hard as he could," and then she woke up. I was like,
man, but like, and then when they're like arguing, and he goes in the room and he's like, "Ugh." And he's like mad at himself, and I was just like, I don't think I've ever seen him act that poorly. He's a really good actor and he's a good character actor, but that was so over the top. I thought, man, that had to be like somebody else's idea. That might have been Cameron's idea. No, do it like this. And he's like, I guess. And then he it was funny, man. I did get a kick out of that.
There is a theatricality to. I think it's a Cameron thing too. Like it feels more like an older movie, or like a play or something. Like the way they're like playing to the back seats a little bit. They're like doing it the old school way a little bit. Yeah. I noticed that as well. It's like everyone's a little bit amped up, you know. But if you watch like a movie from the 60s or something, then that was like how everybody acted.
Yeah.
I mean, way back in the day, they did it like hardcore. Like 50s and 40s movies, they all like there is no like chill. Yeah. Like they don't, unless it's like a
acting
serious movie.
Acting came from the stage, so everyone you don't get to see the small expressions and things like that. You have to act big.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you're on stage and you're performing in front of a giant crowd, you want them to know if you're upset, so you project that with volume more so than just subtle movements on your face.
Yeah, you got to do big movements, to express yourself and stuff. So I was
the front row people like, why are they so angry? Like the dude in the back's like, I get it, man.
yeah.
I don't watch movies that old, so
I haven't seen a lot. It's not my cup of tea either. I have seen a few old, mostly like horror and like I don't know what to call it. A lot of old noir stuff. They overact a lot in those.
Sure.
My oldest son loves old black and white movies, and I'm just like, dude, what are you watching? Like, I cannot do this shit. I could turn it off. But people who watch it are the real cinephiles, right? They can analyze and get ideas and James Cameron things up, I guess. So.
I have never claimed to be a cinephile. I'll be very upfront about that. I like movies a lot. That's where it stops. They're awesome.
Watch Japanese ones. I find they don't have that theatricality that they did over here in the States.
They totally do.
They did, but I don't know. Maybe it's just different enough.
I'm glad Josh said that because I didn't want to argue.
Sure, Mifune is like. He is like way over the top in most of the movies.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I just don't think it's as
it's because it's in a foreign language.
Probably so.
I was gonna say it's when you're listening to something and you're reading all the dialogue and script, they're over the top stuff won't even be as won't resonate with you as much. Yeah.
I feel like relevant or something. Yeah.
I've noticed that I accept things that are foreign a little bit more than I do when they're in my language. Like I will be more critical of something that they'll do in a foreign movie and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I like that. It's just like, because it's foreign. So you just kind of accept it more, I guess.
I was going to say like, you're not understanding what they're saying. So, I mean, you're seeing their emotions and their, their mannerisms and everything, but you are reading what they're saying. So you're not getting it, visually and audibly. You're just getting, the action and reading it for yourself. So I mean, you can kind of read it in your head, however you want it, I guess.
Yeah. Didn't mean to
older movie like this. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think I tend to look at movies that I've seen when I was a kid with sort of rose-colored glasses. Like when you guys are critical of this movie, I'm like, how dare you? Like this is, something. It's like story time when I was 11 and we were watching James Cameron. My dad loves sci-fi. I saw Aliens in the movie theater. I saw this in the movie theater. And I mean, talk about just being totally jaw on the floor, blown away. This was one of those moments for me. But now I look at it and I was really, it has like a lot of charm for me still. I was watching it late at night and I was on the edge of my bed watching it, just like, dang, I remember this. But I was like, all right, guys, like, wrap it up. Bring her back to life. Like, that was one of the scenes where I was just like, come on now. Like she's been dead for 5 minutes and we're still trying,
Yeah.
I was so disappointed when she came back. I was like, I forgot about how stupid movies can be sometimes. What's funny is everybody, like you guys specifically, talk about, especially Josh and some of it, Hugh, like being a kid and watching movies and with your folks or whatever. And I think it's so strange. I don't even know. I've often thought, like, how did I even get to a point where I love horror movies and I love music so much? because the reason I love movies so much is because that was my dad's shit, dude. My dad was a movie guy. Like Josh would have gotten along with him based solely on the fact they could have talked old ass westerns and shit for days and days and days. But like my mom didn't like movies. She doesn't listen to music. And in all fairness, my mom was working like 60 something hours a week when I was a kid. She was just ready to get home. And then when she got home, she had little bratty ass kids she had to go make dinner for, because back then they didn't have like Grubhub and shit. So she would work all day, cook dinner, and then she would just go to bed. So like sometimes I wonder, like, man, how did I even get to liking movies? And I think I got here from a desire to want to watch them because I couldn't as a kid. So I don't have any of those same memories. I barely remember any movies from being a kid outside of Ninja Turtles, because that's what we did. We collected comic books. So I got to be around comics as a kid because that's what my mom and I did together. So shout out to my mom. I'm not trying to like shit on her. She was doing the best she could.
Sounds like
like she did amazing. But like
shout out to all the single moms. Yeah,
facts, dude. 100%. Like, but it's amazing that I even got to a point where I could do a movie podcast. I could talk about it enough to understand it, to understand anything about cinematography or lighting or sound or any of that stuff. Like, and I don't typically dive super deep into that stuff, but I can at least understand it a little bit. It's kind of a crazy thing I even got to this point. It's crazy I got into music the way I did, because I wasn't really a part of my childhood on any level.
In terms of like liking horror and why you are inclined to horror, to me, horror was always like the thing my parents were sort of like, don't watch that. That's too crazy.
The forbidden.
And so to like, as a rebellious side of me, I would sneak downstairs and catch some, HBO boobs or something, and maybe a bit of a horror movie. So,
Yeah,
totally.
I think that's
Same
what
Well, I
it's
mean, I didn't even have
rebellious
TV. We had. I don't think I had TV until I was like 10 or 11 years old, maybe 12 at all. Like we didn't have, maybe a little bit. It was like a little tiny TV in the like living room that was off to the side, but we didn't really do like TV stuff like that. And I sure as hell never had cable. And we cable shit. Some guy the other day was like, "Oh, you didn't see Rancid on 120 Minutes on MTV, like pre Out Come the Wolves?" And I was like, "What year was that?" And I was like, "94." And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Bro, I didn't have MTV." And they were like, "Oh." I'm like, MTV, bro, in 94, I was 12, man. I didn't have, sometimes I was like I got dinner. Like MTV. That shit was back then was real expensive.
Sorry.
No,
I was gonna say I'm a little similar. Like we had TV and stuff, but like my mom and my parents weren't like super conservative or anything, but like we had a block on our cable, on the cable box, that blocked like MTV and like all the good stuff. I couldn't watch MTV until I was 14, 15, something like that. And
was it like the adult content, so to speak, just to keep?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Beavis and Butthead was big and stuff like that, and like
I wasn't even allowed to watch The Simpsons, man.
Yeah, that was one I could watch, but I mean, similar with music, is like my parents listened to classic rock and like country music, so I had like older friends and like older cousins and stuff that like Pantera. What is Pantera? And freaking Tool, like just whatever else, just like heavier, different stuff. I mean, I started listening to like Green Day when I was that little, and
I'll never forget the first time I heard Pantera. It just was like, what? I mean,
I remember I was probably like 16 maybe, and I heard Far Beyond Driven, and I was like, let me have that, please. I borrowed it from my friend. I listened to it like 4 times in one night, and like didn't sleep at all, was falling asleep in school the next day.
Yeah, and I could only get stuff from Walmart, because Walmart was still selling edited cassettes. So I had Green Day and Offspring and stuff like that, like early to mid 90s stuff that was just edited from Walmart.
I have something actually in my hand right now that Walmart. Okay, so Epitaph Records didn't really follow the guidelines. So as an example, this has a lot of curse words on it, like a fair amount of F-bombs on this, right? I bought this from Walmart, and the reason I was able to get it is because I was allowed to buy from Walmart, because they were protecting people with their edited music. And so I snuck in a good punk rock tape from Walmart. I bought this. It probably was a CD though. I don't think I had it on cassette. I think I had it on CD. But it was bought from Walmart, and it didn't have a parental advisory sticker, so I was allowed to have it. And there's like all kinds of cool stuff on this that I wouldn't have been able to have. But I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons. I couldn't watch Roseanne. Like, dude, there was like a lot of stuff I wasn't allowed to watch.
Yeah. I remember that was like the big deal. My sister brought home an NWA CD.
Oh, I mean, that sucked.
Dude, I was like, I want to say I was like 9 or 10, and she was 11, and we were listening to this in her room, just like, I mean, it was.
Oh, I thought you meant like a Walmart version. I was like,
no,
that was terrible.
It was like somebody she knew's brother bought her like the legit one. And I remember I went to Colorado to see a friend. I was like 14, and Body Count came out with that song,
shit.
Cop, you know.
Yeah.
And you couldn't buy those CDs anywhere. And this girl that my friend was dating, my friend's sister was dating this guy who worked at a music shop, and he was like, I have one of these and I'll sell it to you. And I was like, oh. I mean, dude, stuff like that were like the moments where you just totally broke all the rules in music world and got your hands on the vulgar whatever. I mean, shit, it was.
Yeah.
And now
it
was a totally different world.
Yeah, that was like a local, like you couldn't buy stuff like that when I was a kid at like the mall music store,
no
but
way.
they had a dude that opened up a music shop that just like a little locally owned music shop. So he would sell it to anybody. He just wanted to make a sale. So we would just go in and buy, we'd ride our bikes and we would go and buy. So that was really like until I got to that point. Yeah, I was listening to edited cassettes.
That's why I like your shop so much, Randy, is when I go in there, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, like CD Warehouse felt like this. And you could, ooh, like what's behind the counter, you know? Like, ooh, that's where they keep the good shit, you know?
Walmart didn't have
when I go to your place.
a lot of movies that I wanted when I was even like 17, 18.
Wow.
They had like a very restricted selection of movies because of the same thing. So like you could get Cameron stuff, but I don't think you were going to go get like some of the, even like Scorsese films weren't. They didn't have Taxi Driver. No. They didn't have Goodfellas that I can recall. It was like I think DVDs came out and blew the door off stuff, and they had to expand their selection. But like a movie like The Abyss would have been in there probably, but not anything super crazy. You know, Pulp Fiction was going to be in there.
Nothing nothing vulgar, right?
Yeah, I don't remember buying movies from Walmart either.
It's crazy, man. Walmart was like a family place for the longest time. Now they're like, I bet you could. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. That's gonna.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, I've seen some stuff in their like healthcare aisle where I was like, they carry this at Walmart now. I'm like, doggone, bro.
Yeah.
Thought this was only at AdamandEve.com, but dude, they got full on party supplies in that place.
Yeah, but I was a little similar with movies too. Like, my dad doesn't really like movies at all. And my mom,
isn't that weird?
Typical stuff. So like I never watched a lot of movies. I mean, I went to see like Billy Madison and stuff in the theater.
Let's go.
You know, stuff like that. That was really the only thing I ever saw until probably at high school age. So, you know, I didn't see any of that stuff until I was at least a teenager.
You know, the one that I can remember my mom being really disappointed about a movie coming out was Spawn, because when I was a kid, we collected comics. Spawn came out in the 90s. My mom was like, okay, I'm not sure about these books, but the guy says they're going to be valuable, so we'll get them, but I don't think you should read these. And I was like, because I was an avid comic reader, you know, and so I was like, dude, come on. And then I found out as a kid, like, this is the same guy that draws the Spider-Man stuff. And I was like, I got to read this shit. And so I literally would like, just basically tell her like, oh, I'm not going to, you know, she knew I was really particular about collecting
I won't
things.
read this.
Well, no, like, so like even now when I collect stuff, I'm really careful with my collections, right? Well, I was like that when I was a kid. I used to be really particular about how I took care of things. And so I told her, I said, well, I just want to bag and board them. I'm not going to even mess with them. As a kid, I was like, no, I just want to keep them in good shape. And one day I just had a bug up my ass, and I read a couple, and then I told her I read them, and she got kind of pissed, but she got over it, whatever. But then the movie came out, and it was rated R. And I remember she was so disappointed because I think she kind of wanted to watch the movie, but she just wasn't gonna. I don't think she's ever seen it.
Yeah. You're what little I know about your mom, I don't think she would be a Spawn fan.
No.
No, she's a not a not a Spawn fan.
I don't know many moms from the 60s or 50s who are big Spawn fans.
Her Spawn is a Spawn fan though.
Yeah.
Facts, bro. I asked her to go watch. I can't remember what movie it was, but I asked her to go watch something. I was an adult, okay? So we go to this theater. So, okay, when I grew up, we used to go when I was dealing with addiction and stuff. The one thing that my mom and I always still did was she lived by Studio Movie Grill, and they had this like thing for seniors, like she could watch a movie for next to nothing, right? And so she'd go, "Hey, I got this place I can go. I can afford this. You want to go see a movie?" And we got to where we would go like every Tuesday. And we would switch picking movies. And I know what she's willing to watch and what she's not. So it was pretty easy to pick out movies. But like one day I picked some movie. I wish I could remember what the title was. I'll remember it later and y'all will laugh because it was something that if you like on the surface, you're like, oh, it's just like a silly movie. But it was really crude. And we got in there and we watch it and it's just like lesbians making out and like just like dick jokes. And I'm like sitting in the theater and bro, I don't get uncomfortable and embarrassed very often, man. I was like, I'm trying not to look at her because I can feel her just buttoned up, like not enjoying herself at all, dude. And I was just like, we left, and she was just like, never again. And I was like, I got you. I'm sorry. I got it. Oh man,
yeah. I feel like our moms are kind of similar, actually, because I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons either. Like, anything kind of crude was like, nah, you don't need that.
She's like,
garbage.
I don't want you acting more like Bart Simpson than you already do. Oh man.
Yeah. My mom like just listens to KSBJ Christian radio, and that's pretty much it. So
my sister told me like a month ago, she's like, "Hey, we're going out to go to this concert tonight." I was like, "Oh, who is it?" And she tells me this name of this group, and I was like, "Oh, what is? I've never heard of that. What is it?" And I'm thinking it's like some kind of pop music because I don't stay in touch with that stuff. So I'm like, "Oh, who's that?" And she goes, "Oh, it's like a Christian rap group." And I literally started cracking up. I was like, "Wait, are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Why would you go listen to Christian rap music?" And she goes, "Don't they have Christian punk rock?" And I was like, "They tried." I was like, I mean, not really. No,
they didn't know what punk was.
You know what I'm saying? Like and I'm not even like crapping on nobody that wants to do like, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
that would be weird. Like angry. Like I listen to oi music. That's about as Christian as it gets. Blue collar conservative, like working man's music. But like, no, I'm not.
I remember they played a couple Bart Simpson episodes in Catholic High for us, like at pep rallies and stuff. They would be. It was an all boys school, so I guess I don't know. They would let you smoke and do weird things, but
do weird things.
There were like really big fights, and
the Catholics are all about it.
Dude, there were a couple really bad fist fights I saw, and nobody got expelled, nobody got suspended. They were like,
it's only the most repressed people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but they would.
Yeah.
But so we were watching some Simpsons in high school. It was weird.
You're like,
that is
dude. Oh man, dude! If I went to a Catholic school, man, I don't know what I would have done. Like I might have just ran away from it. Were you housed on campus?
No, it wasn't I can't remember, a reform school or anything.
Yeah, it wasn't like a boarding school or anything.
No. My dad threatened to send me to one a couple of times. There was one.
Oh, dude, I absolutely got threatened to get sent to that like third grade.
But no, it was pretty miserable, man. I mean, I did not have a good time. I went there freshman and sophomore year, and dude, I just begged and pleaded with my parents, like, I have to be around girls. I have to be around like I have to see. And I felt like hormonal and stuff, and it just like that was a big facet of adolescence, is wanting to see young ladies. So that was completely restricted. It just felt like you're going bonkers, and there was no internet then, so it just it's like but that to me, I thought would be like a life-changing pivotal experience to get into like a public school with women. And dude, I realized that once I got into public school, I was so far ahead of all the curriculum. I literally didn't open a book for 2 years. So
Whoa.
it was
Me either.
it was pretty sad. But no, I mean, and then having women around, like that was a huge distraction. On top of that, I grew my hair
Bro.
long and got piercings and started smoking weed every day.
I need
and
photos, bro. I need
skipped
photos.
school. Yeah, it was a fun time.
I think y'all know this, but I was homeschooled my whole life. Like,
Oh, I did know that. Yeah.
so I didn't even my parents didn't even want me to get corrupted by going to public school. So,
Dude, my mom would have
You're a pretty
definitely done
good
that had
dude.
she been able to.
yeah,
You're a pretty good dude. Maybe they made the right choice.
maybe. I still got corrupted.
Hey, has anybody watched? I know somebody has. I just don't remember who did it. The Sympathizer.
I watched all. I'm current, but just the recent ones.
Oh, okay.
The recent one.
How is it?
I'm
Oh,
already
my
on my second watch through. It's incredibly confusing, but I'm watching it very slowly now the second time around.
Okay.
But I really like it. It's
Park Chan-wook stuff is very complex, so
dude.
I get confused watching his movies too. Yeah.
Well, no, I literally was telling Chris, I was like, man, I need to wait till Josh watches this shit and get him, have him explain it to me because I don't know what the fuck's going on. Dude, we got to the very last part. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I was like, wait, did blank, blank? And she's like, I don't know. And then she's like, want to watch it again? And I was like, sure. So we started it over. But it's like really enjoyable though. Like I don't understand how they can make a movie or a show that's hard to understand that I still enjoy so much. It's really pretty. I like the actors. I like the story that I can, because I think this is one that they wanted like rewatchability because that's what they're in the market for. It's a TV show. No,
it's a pretty rough watch though, man. You're watching, the Vietnam conflict initially, then you're watching like this hardcore spy back and forth with like agendas and underhanded murders and assassinations. I mean,
okay, yeah,
that's what
I don't understand what you're saying. I guess
I'm saying that to me isn't like terribly rewatchable. I don't want to see world crises and people getting blown up. That's not my jam. Like
I mean, we're looking at it from a different perspective, I guess. I'm looking at it. Yeah. That stuff's in there, but that's not what I'm paying. I'm more into it for the characters, and I also want to know like what each person is doing, when and why and where. Like, because I didn't understand all that because it is so complex. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a lighthearted. Well, hell, that was fucking fun. It's not one of those movies.
I mean, I've only watched the first episode, which I liked a lot, but. It's not. It is very like heavy, but it is lighthearted too. Like there's a lot of. It is trying to have fun too. Like it's pretty stylish.
There's tons of funny shit in that show. I laugh a lot in that show.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is like going off the rails.
Yes. Cocaine rails.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. I think
if it's not your jam, it's not your jam though. I mean, there's like other topics that. Of movies like that y'all could watch that I won't watch. Sure. So I mean, I get it. If it's not something you're interested in,
I really want to like it because it's part of like our group's little talking points, right? I really like. That's why I watched so many of them. I was watching at my mom's house when I was.
That's crazy, man. Don't feel obligated to like something. I sure as shit don't. If I don't like it, I don't like it.
I wanted to like commit to it though, and it's easy for me. I have a lot of free time, so it's not like I'm just juggling kids and shit like that. I mean, I could peel into a show and
you watch a lot of shows,
and I want something to talk about because it helps. It's our common ground, if you will. So
yeah. I need to get on it. I watched the first episode right before we moved, and then I haven't had time to watch it since.
Well, so Chris and I used to watch a lot of movies together, but we figured out that if we can find a show that we both like, we can do an episode a night, and it's way less commitment than a whole movie. Yeah. And I'll just watch the movies by myself unless it's something that I know she's going to want to watch. So we did that one, and we're on I think we're on like season 4 of Supernatural again. We're watching that all the way through again because like first off, that's like her boyfriend. So let her.
Which one?
Dean.
Okay.
The little short-haired one.
Yeah,
but we like to watch we prefer movies, and I really don't like getting into TV shows. I'm sure y'all know that. I fucking hate it, but I like hanging out with my wife. So if that's what I got to do to spend some time with her in the evening, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
But-
and that's like comfort food type stuff. Like you don't
Right.
have to commit too much to it. That's good stuff.
I love Supernatural though. That's one show that I like.
Yeah.
There's probably a handful of shows we could watch that I could watch over and over and over. To be that, Scrubs, The Office, Parks and Rec. I liked all that stuff because it's digestible, real easy, short episodes. That kind of stuff. But there's not. If I'm watching something heavy, I usually watch it by myself, with the exception of this one, as far as the show's concerned. But she's gotten a lot more interested in stuff. Our interests have crossed over a lot more in the last 5 years.
No, for sure. So The Abyss. No. I think we're done with The Abyss anyways. I think everyone liked it. What would you guys do with a double feature? What movie would you pair with this? I'll go first. I was thinking Crimson Tide. It's not a sci-fi movie, but it's
Okay.
Have y'all seen that before?
Never seen it.
It's been a
Hackman.
long time since I've seen that one.
It's a Tony Scott movie, submarine movie. Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington.
It's a good movie.
It's a fantastic movie. Just kind of the underwater vibes and the military vibes and all that stuff. I feel like it would go good with it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something, watery, but
I'll go with Waterworld.
I was going to say Waterworld, man.
Dude, I unironically love that movie. I fucking love that movie, dude.
I
Kevin
like
Costner's the shit.
Jeanette Tipplehorn or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
The chick with on the boat, the stowaway.
Talk about having cable. I watched a lot of TNT growing up, and I saw Waterworld probably about 15 times because that movie was always on TNT.
If we're being serious, I would either go with like Aliens, or I would go with probably like Leviathan or something else that's underwater.
That one's been on my list for a
Aliens,
long
too.
time. I've never seen Leviathan.
yeah, me either. I've wanted to watch it too. It just got a 4K Kino Lorber, I think. Yeah. I was thinking about picking that up.
Peter Weller.
I was thinking Aliens too, but it seems like a kind of low hanging fruit. It's James Cameron and
Yeah, but that's kind of the point sometimes, right? Like
makes
low
the
hanging
most
fruit's
sense.
good, man.
I was gonna say Aliens, but I didn't want to. That's what I'm saying. It just seemed like
Shit, yeah, dude. Aliens is
But
great.
I am totally drawing a blank otherwise. Like I can't think of many like deep sea movies, that are like
Well, it doesn't even have to be like a double feature.
It could be
doesn't
another
have
Ed
to be-
Harris movie.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the same kind
Randy
of movie.
stole
Even
Waterworld.
even like two of the same kind of movies can be kind of boring sometimes. Sometimes you want to throw in something like completely contrasting.
What about like another UFO type movie? The only thing I could
Basketball.
I love that movie.
I'll do too.
Which one, Clay?
Fire in the Sky, where the guy gets abducted,
Oh, shit.
I've never seen that one.
Oh man.
scarred for life.
I've heard it's pretty crazy though. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I've got a phobia of alien abduction. So.
Oh yeah, that's
That doesn't-
true. You mentioned that before. Yeah.
Is that like? Wait, do you really?
Yes. Yeah. I think like I watched. What's the one with Mila Jovovich? The Fifth something or
Fifth Element?
No, it's like she actually communicates in like Sumerian language and is like possessed by the aliens.
What?
I'm trying to think of this.
Dude,
movie.
I don't know. It sounds like something I want to watch.
Oh, it scared the living shit out of me. Let's see.
That sounds cool, but I don't know.
Yeah,
No, you guys have heard of it, I'm sure.
I'm
Fourth
sure.
Kind.
The fourth.
The Fourth
Oh,
Kind.
I've heard of that. I've never seen it though.
So I watched The Fourth Kind and I was like, oh shit, this is a real documentary type stylized account of a movie. And dude, I didn't sleep. I was like, I'm never going to Alaska. If I ever see a white owl, like I'm out of here. There's like so many little
That's awesome.
nuanced like UFO signs, or if you see that, you're totally screwed. You're getting anally probed. So,
That's the fun part.
I guess if you're awake and resisting, and yeah, it's good times.
Good
Dude,
time.
so if you ever
That's
have you
that weird
ever-
Catholic school stuff.
fucking right. Dude, the Catholic school shit explains so
Phobia. Phobia.
much. Okay, so in the event that you ever get the pleasure of like meeting my mom and like talking to her for a little bit, my mom's a really nice person. But if you ever get to meet her, ask her about her extraterrestrial experience, because my mother is the only person on the face of this planet that has never lied to me, and I would never. You could show me like actual proof that she was lying to me, and I still wouldn't believe it. So and it's nothing insane, but if you ask, like, I was blown away one day when I asked my mom, "Hey, mom, you believe in aliens and stuff?" Because my mom's like super uber Christian, right? I fully expected her to be like, "No, that's nonsense." And she goes, "Yes, I do." And she went right back to what she was doing. And I was like, "Hold on, what?" And she goes, "Yeah, call your uncle and ask him." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "We had a thing." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Me and your uncle had a thing." And I was like, "What?" And so they grew up in Vidor, Texas, which is the middle of nowhere.
I know where Vidor
And
is.
so I'll explain it real quickly to the best of my ability. She was in bed. They had a hallway. Down on the hallway, it was like 2 bedrooms on one side, one on the other side. Her and her brother had their own room, and then down the hall, across the hall, was her parents. She was in bed, woke up to an incredibly bright light floating in her front yard. And I mean, when I say incredibly, she said it was so bright. She was like, "What in the world is that?" And she thought, "Oh, it must be a truck pulling up or something," because you're out in the country, you don't know.
Mhm.
She said that she was like, "Huh." So she looked at it, and it just stayed there. It got bigger, it got smaller, it went up, it went down, and then she was like, "Ah!" And she like ran into her brother's room, because it's her brother. And she said that she ran into the room, and when she ran into the room, it was nothing. The window was it was dark. And then it went whoop, and it was like, "Nah, bro." And then they freaked out, and they ran to their parents' room, and they said that they could see it was so bright, they could see it following them through their whole house to their parents.
God.
And now my grandparents are all gone, so I can't ask them what they saw or anything. But to my understanding, they all woke up, saw it. It like basically acknowledged them, and it took flight. Yeah,
That's crazy.
There's
And,
so
like-
many curse words running through my head right now.
bro. Like the craziest thing is that there is absolutely no reason for her to make that up. Like, it just doesn't, because she doesn't tell anybody. It doesn't benefit her at
she
all.
wouldn't make
So
it
like,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like when I hear it, and so like I'm already skeptical of things. I already kind of like conspiracy type stuff already interests me, and so I think it naturally fed into that when I was little, because I heard about that when I was a teenager, and so I've had some things happen to me in my life that I don't really have an explanation for, and I've seen some stuff that I don't necessarily think was like extraterrestrial, but I definitely think it was supernatural. And my mom definitely has some interesting stuff. It's just really cool that my mom told me that, because it's something that it's so out there for her to tell me that. I'm like, there's no reason for her to make that up. And I've had
Yeah.
people tell me like, "Oh, your mom's just pulling your leg." I'm like, I don't know, bro. My mom's not really like that. Like, she's not a pull your leg type. Like, because she would consider that lying, and she's not really into lying. Like, so
This
Yeah.
whole time I thought you were going to say, "Don't ask my mom about what she thinks about Catholics" or something. UFO in your
That too.
bed story.
no, you
Aliens
can
in
ask her
my
what she thinks about
bed.
Catholics. She'll tell you.
Aliens in. And why do the aliens always have to mess with you while you're in the privacy of your own bedroom? Why? Why is that?
Dude, she was
where
like 10 years old, bro. She
Creepers.
said she was little. I don't know if it was 10, but it was little. Like, it might have been 10 or so. But
What's
my
a
uncle was like,
freaky-
my uncle said he was a little kid, dude. He said it freaked him the fuck out. Not like that. He didn't say that, but scared the crap
otherworldly
out of him.
Peeping toms
Yeah.
taking you out of your.
They're
freaking bed.
pedophiles.
dude.
Dude, I know.
After
They were on that
10-year-old.
list. Alien.
You didn't see him in Catholic school?
I think James Cameron is going to have to fire these people up. We're just going to have to nuke them from afar.
There
It's
you
the only
go.
way to be
Dude.
safe.
So what's our movie? Sorry, I gotta kind of go.
Sorry, I was about to wrap it up.
Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne.
All
Okay.
Can I
right.
watch that somewhere?
I'll fire it off to you.
At his house.
Man, hold on. Let me look, because I don't want to watch it on my computer. I fucking hate watching movies on my computer. Hold on.
We'll figure something out. I'll bring you the disc.
I mean, if it's an Arrow, is there something? Is there
Yeah.
a sale anywhere I can buy it? What's it called? The Strange what?
Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne.
Cool. Thank you. That's all I need to know.
We don't
Oh, yeah.
care. some other chick who's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I saw you've rated it very highly. So.
Yeah, you 5-starred that
Hero.
thing.
Well, you know I like the weird stuff, and
Yeah.
you know I was about to pick Sex and Fury, but I'm like, we've all seen it, minus Josh, and I think you know you
Oh,
guys are
so
sort of
good though.
lukewarm on it.
I need to rewatch it for sure.
I'm gonna check it out. My disc never came in. I gotta reorder it.
What?
Yeah, I think it got lost. I gotta.
Sucks.
They were trying to say like it's still on the way, and it hasn't moved for like 5 days. So
you can cancel it.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a dear love of mine, but I think it's still like an exclusive type taste of mine. But this movie is very much the same. Like it's very strange, and there's
cool.
You know.
Sorry, just to make sure I got this right. Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne?
Yeah, just put Strange Osborne in any search you're looking for. You can put Jekyll and Osborne. Think Ozzy Osborne. You know.
No, there was like 16 different strange case of Dr. Jekyll things, and I just want to make sure I got the right one.
You want Ozzy Osborne.
I. Cool. All right, fellas, I gotta get out of here too, man. Later, guys.
Cool.
All right.
Later, guys.
Yep. See ya.
Take care.